Have you ever wondered why a compass always points north, even when you're standing still? Or why our planet wears an invisible shield that bends space itself, guarding every living thing? Tonight, we drift together into the quiet mystery of Earth's magnetic field, a force unseen, yet always present, wrapping our world in a gentle, protective embrace. As you settle into your chair or lie beneath the soft glow of your lamp, allow your mind to float beyond the walls of your room. Picture Earth, spinning silently in the velvet darkness of space, surrounded by invisible lines of force that guide birds across continents, protect satellites in orbit, and create ribbons of light that dance across polar skies. These invisible currents, born from the heart of our planet, move with a rhythm older than any human memory, a rhythm you are about to witness in quiet wonder. Before we journey further, I'd love to know where in the world you are watching from tonight. If you're feeling curious, leave a comment below, and if you enjoy exploring the gentle mysteries of our universe, consider subscribing to The Thoughtful Night, so you can join me on many more voyages like this. Tonight, we will move slowly, drifting through the layers of Earth's core, tracing the molten rivers of iron and nickel that spin, twist, and dance to create the magnetic heartbeat of our planet. We'll follow the wandering poles as they trace their invisible paths, glimpse the aurora's delicate ballet in the night sky, and discover how this unseen force has guided humans for centuries, while quietly shielding life itself. There will be no rush, no urgency, just the gentle pull of Earth's magnetic embrace, inviting you to relax, breathe, and let your thoughts sway with the quiet currents of science and wonder. Each chapter of our journey tonight is designed to calm your mind, spark your imagination, and carry you closer to sleep, while leaving you with a sense of awe at the living planet beneath your feet. As we begin, feel the rhythm of your own heartbeat, and imagine it syncing with the deep pulse of our planet. Together, we'll listen to the whispers of molten iron in the core, the silent hum of magnetic currents, and the faint, shimmering lights of auroras far above. This is a story of invisible forces, timeless motion, and quiet beauty. A story that belongs to the Earth and now to you. So close your eyes if you like, or let your gaze soften, and let us begin our journey into the mystery of Earth's magnetic field, where every moment is a gentle step into wonder. Beneath the crust you walk upon lies a world few of us ever imagine, a realm of molten fire and slow, deliberate motion. Imagine descending deeper than any tunnel, past layers of rock, past the mantle's simmering seas of silicate, until you reach the very heart of the Earth. Here, in the secret chamber of our planet, a river of iron and nickel flows endlessly, twisting and turning in invisible spirals that pulse with the rhythm of time itself. The inner core is a sphere of solid iron, dense and unyielding, yet it rests within the outer core, a vast ocean of liquid metal, glowing faintly with the heat of creation. Temperatures here climb beyond 4,000 degrees Celsius, a heat so immense that it can melt mountains 1,000 times over. But instead of chaos, there is order. Convection currents ripple through the molten metal, slow and majestic, moving in arcs shaped by rotation and gravity. These currents are the dancers of the geodynamo, the silent architects of the magnetic field that stretches invisibly around the globe. Picture this molten world as a river of fire flowing in slow, invisible spirals. Each swirl carries with it electric currents that, like the hum of a vast orchestra, generate the invisible lines of force that cradle the Earth. These are not merely physical motions. They are the heartbeat of our planet, a quiet pulse that has persisted for billions of years. As the Earth spins, the molten metals respond, twisting and turning, weaving a magnetic tapestry that reaches far into space. Even though we cannot see it, this magnetic field shapes life on Earth. It guides the migrations of birds, the journeys of whales, and the compass needles of explorers. It shields the atmosphere from charged particles from the sun, gently deflecting streams of energy that would otherwise strip away our fragile layer of air. And all of this arises from the hidden, glowing motions of iron and nickel at the core, a reminder that even in darkness, the planet sustains itself with quiet, constant energy. The outer core is a place of contrasts. Its fluid motions are unpredictable yet patterned, a delicate balance of turbulence and flow. Convection rises where heat presses upward, and cooler metal sinks in silent descent. This cycle produces the churning currents that drive the magnetic field, and over centuries, these movements have shifted and swirled, sometimes causing the poles to wander and the compass to falter. Yet through it all, the Earth maintains its invisible shield, a testament to the harmony of molten forces deep below. To understand this geodynamo is to appreciate a subtle poetry of matter. Electric currents, moving through the flowing metal, give rise to the field lines that extend into space. These lines arc and curve, invisible but real, forming a cocoon around the planet. Scientists have measured them, mapped their strength, and witnessed their slow drift across the globe. But for all our knowledge, the geodynamo retains an element of mystery, as if the Earth whispers its secrets only to those who listen with patience and awe. The inner core itself, though solid, is not static. It rotates imperceptibly, slightly faster than the rest of the planet. This rotation, combined with the fluid motions of the outer core, amplifies the magnetic field, reinforcing the currents that stretch outward into the heavens. Like a quiet engine, the core drives a force that protects life, guides explorers, and dances unseen above the poles. Every moment, every slow swirl, contributes to the magnetic heartbeat that envelopes the planet. As we drift through this hidden world, it is tempting to imagine what it would feel like to be there. The immense heat, the constant motion, the weight of metal pressing in every direction. Yet the beauty of the core is not just in its violence or its density. It is in the calm continuity, the endless flow that never falters. A river of fire, bending and twisting, yet always in motion, always sustaining, always creating the unseen patterns that extend far beyond the Earth's surface. Consider for a moment that the very compass in your pocket owes its fidelity to these invisible currents. Every time you trace a map, every time you feel the needle quiver and settle toward magnetic north, you are participating, silently, in the ongoing symphony of molten metal at the planet's heart. The magnetic field is not a relic nor a static barrier. It is alive, fluid, and intimate, connecting the spinning Earth beneath your feet to the vast emptiness above. And so, as you lie here, eyes closing softly, take a deep breath and imagine the core. A glowing sphere of molten iron, dancing in spirals, generating a magnetic embrace that touches every corner of the globe. Feel its rhythm in the quiet, as the Earth hums a song of protection and connection, invisible yet essential. This is the beginning of our journey through the mystery of Earth's magnetic field, a journey that will carry us from the molten heart beneath our feet to the auroras that shimmer in the farthest reaches of the sky, a story of invisible forces and quiet wonder, waiting to be discovered. Far above the molten heart of Earth, a subtle choreography unfolds, one that spans centuries, continents, and oceans. The magnetic poles, invisible yet undeniable, are not fixed points on a map. They wander slowly, imperceptibly, as if the planet itself is tracing a secret path through space. North and south are not eternal constants. They drift, tracing arcs that can surprise the patient observer, nudging compasses and sailors alike. Imagine standing at the edge of the Arctic, holding a compass in your hand. You feel its quiet pull, guiding you north, though the pole itself has already moved miles beyond where it was yesterday. This gentle wander is part of a natural rhythm, a slow dance driven by the currents of molten metal deep within the Earth's outer core. Every swirl and turn in that hidden ocean sends ripples outward, subtly shifting the invisible lines of magnetic force that stretch from pole to pole. Over millennia, this wandering has sometimes led to dramatic events known as magnetic reversals. During these rare moments, the North and South poles swap places entirely. It is not instantaneous. The process unfolds over thousands of years, a gradual flip that reshapes the compass for generations of explorers. Yet despite what the word reversal might suggest, life on Earth continues. The magnetic field may weaken or shift during this period, but it never disappears entirely. The planet's rhythm persists, quietly maintaining the invisible shield that protects every living being. Visualize the Earth spinning, slow and steady, as molten currents twist beneath the surface. Like dancers in a ballroom, the poles pivot, glide, and arc in a timeless performance, flipping and twirling, yet always returning to balance. Each reversal is a step in this ancient dance, a reminder that even forces that seem constant are part of a greater, evolving system. Our planet is not static. It is alive with motion, and the magnetic poles are among its most elegant expressions. Historical evidence tells the story in stone. Ancient rocks capture the direction of the magnetic field at the time they formed, preserving tiny compasses frozen in mineral memory. When geologists examine these ancient markers, they find that the field has flipped many times, a pattern repeated over hundreds of millions of years. Yet the process is never catastrophic. The atmosphere remains intact, and life, resilient and adaptable, endures. There is reassurance in this knowledge, a quiet comfort that Earth's magnetic dance is part of a natural, enduring rhythm. Even today, the poles continue their journey. North Magnetic Pole drifts hundreds of kilometers over a single century, guided by the churning currents of the core. Scientists track this movement with precision, mapping its subtle shifts with satellites and observatories. But to imagine it, you need only picture a compass on a frozen tundra, slowly adjusting its needle, responding to the invisible flow far beneath your feet. The pole does not hurry. It moves with patience, as if aware of the time it takes for molten metal to trace its path. The southern pole mirrors this motion in quiet symmetry. The Earth's magnetic dance is balanced, though never perfectly so. Anomalies arise, pockets of stronger or weaker field lines, gentle irregularities that add variation to the choreography. These variations are part of the beauty of the system, like a dancer improvising within a larger, harmonious routine. They remind us that the magnetic field is not rigid or mechanical. It is alive, dynamic, and continuously responding to forces we can only glimpse from the surface. As we imagine these motions, it is worth reflecting on the subtle connections to life on the planet. Migratory birds sense these shifts, adjusting their paths with uncanny precision. Whales navigate oceans, guided by cues humans are only beginning to understand. Even the technology we rely upon, satellites, compasses, and navigation systems, bends to the gentle influence of these wandering poles. The magnetic field is a silent partner, shaping motion and direction without demanding attention, a force so reliable that it becomes nearly invisible. Consider the enormity of this dance. A molten core spinning beneath layers of rock, currents twisting in slow spirals, poles gliding across continents over centuries, and yet, all of it remains unnoticed by most of the world. It is a hidden choreography, performed on a scale that defies human comprehension, yet affects every life on the planet. In this sense, the magnetic poles are not just markers. They are storytellers, narrating the rhythm of Earth's inner life through motion, guidance, and gentle influence. And so, as you imagine the compass needle quivering in your hand, remember the dance that drives it. The poles do not rush, they do not hesitate. They glide and turn, moving to the silent music of molten iron below. Their wanderings are ancient, their reversals rare but natural, and their presence a constant reassurance that the Earth is alive with motion, quiet yet profound. As we follow this invisible dance, we begin to glimpse the elegance and subtle complexity of the magnetic forces that cradle our world. The dance of the poles invites patience, wonder, and reflection. It reminds us that the Earth is a living entity, pulsing and turning beneath our feet, shaping the world in ways both visible and unseen. Each step in this dance, each gradual drift, is part of a story billions of years in the making. A story we are only beginning to understand, yet can feel whenever we hold a compass, watch migratory birds, or trace the lines of auroras in the night sky. High above the surface, far beyond the tallest mountains and the deepest oceans, an invisible ocean stretches endlessly, wrapping the planet in quiet protection. This is the magnetosphere, a vast, unseen cocoon generated by the restless currents of molten metal deep within the Earth's core. It is not a rigid barrier, but a flowing, responsive shield, bending and flexing as it meets the charged particles streaming from the sun. In its silent embrace, Life on Earth is sheltered, safe from storms that would otherwise strip away the fragile atmosphere we call home. Picture the solar wind, a river of energetic particles, racing outward from the sun at unimaginable speed. Alone, they could tear through the skies, stripping air and scattering radiation across the surface. But the magnetosphere stands firm, an invisible guardian, guiding these particles along its curves and diverting them away from the Earth. Imagine the lines of magnetic force arching gracefully around the planet, like silk threads in a cosmic loom, directing the flow with effortless precision. As the charged particles collide with these lines, some are funneled toward the poles, descending gently along the magnetic pathways. There, they ignite the upper atmosphere in luminous displays, painting the sky with curtains of green, violet, and red. These auroras are the visible whispers of the magnetosphere's work, reminders that an invisible shield is tirelessly at play, defending life while creating moments of wonder and beauty. The field itself is dynamic, not static. It swells and contracts with the strength of solar storms, rippling in response to gusts of charged particles. Satellites drifting through this zone record subtle fluctuations, tiny undulations in a force so immense that it would be impossible to feel directly. Yet, despite its invisibility, its effect is unmistakable. Earth remains warm, protected, and habitable. Without it, the surface would be exposed to the raw energy of the cosmos, a fragile blue orb stripped of its protective atmosphere. The magnetosphere stretches thousands of kilometers into space, forming a teardrop-shaped shield that trails the planet's rotation. On the sunward side, it is compressed by the force of incoming solar winds. On the night side, it stretches into a long, flowing tail, rippling like a celestial ribbon. These shapes are sculpted not by human hands but by the interaction of molten iron far below and charged particles far above. Every moment, the magnetosphere bends and flows, a silent dance that preserves the delicate balance of life below. Within this invisible shield, energetic particles are trapped, swirling in spirals along magnetic field lines. They create belts of radiation, known as the Van Allen belts, which circle the planet like luminous rings, unseen yet immensely powerful. They are dangerous to unprotected spacecraft, but they are part of the natural equilibrium, a reminder that even the quietest guardians carry immense strength. Life on Earth experiences only the calm that emerges from this balance, unaware of the invisible energy swirling far above. It is humbling to consider that this protective cocoon has persisted for billions of years. The currents in the core, the rotations, the molten rivers of metal, they all conspire to maintain a field that deflects deadly radiation, regulates the planet's exposure to the sun, and guides living creatures in their journeys. From migrating birds to ancient navigators, life has relied upon this unseen guardian without ever needing to see it. The magnetosphere is patience in motion, constancy in invisibility, a silent partner to every moment on Earth. As you imagine these protective lines stretching into space, visualize the particles dancing along them, guided and shaped, diverted and collected. Imagine the sun's energy pressing outward and being sculpted by a force you cannot touch but that shapes every breath, every step, every life. This is the subtle grandeur of our planet, a force so immense and yet so gentle, protecting the world without ceremony, without noise, without fanfare. Even during the rare surges of solar storms, the magnetosphere responds like a guardian rising to the call. It bends and flexes, absorbing the shock, redirecting the energy, preventing catastrophic damage. From above, satellites see the waves ripple across the lines of force, a quiet reminder that the Earth is alive with protective intelligence, and that life beneath is cradled in this invisible embrace. As you drift further into this meditation, think of the magnetosphere as a silent symphony, playing notes too subtle for human ears. Each particle that it deflects, each aurora that it sparks, is a whisper in that grand composition. The Earth hums in harmony with the sun, a delicate balance of energy and protection, visible only in fleeting lights and invisible in its ongoing work. And so, as night deepens and your eyes grow heavy, allow yourself to imagine this shield surrounding you, invisible yet certain. Every breath you take is safe, every movement protected, because the Earth's magnetic field flows continuously, silently, tirelessly. It is a guardian without form, a shield without walls, a reminder that the planet itself watches over the delicate web of life, unseen yet profoundly present. On clear nights near the poles, the sky awakens in a quiet spectacle, as if the heavens themselves are breathing color. Curtains of green, violet, and soft pink ripple across the darkness, drifting slowly like silk in a gentle breeze. These are auroras, delicate lights that speak in whispers, revealing the invisible force that protects and shapes our world. The magnetic field cradling our planet, guiding charged particles in a cosmic dance. The story begins far above the surface, where solar wind streams toward Earth. Tiny charged particles, traveling at unimaginable speeds, collide with the magnetic field, which channels their energy along invisible lines toward the poles. There, in the upper atmosphere, they meet atoms of oxygen and nitrogen. The encounters spark bursts of light, green from oxygen, violet from nitrogen, painting the night sky in flowing, luminous forms that shift and sway, never repeating the same pattern twice. Imagine standing beneath these lights, feeling the stillness of the night, and noticing how each movement is purposeful yet effortless. The auroras are not mere decoration. They are a message of connection, a visible trace of the magnetic field's work. Each ribbon and ripple traces the path of invisible currents, a reminder that the forces shaping our world are continuous, dynamic, and profoundly beautiful. The sky becomes a living canvas, revealing energy that is usually hidden from our senses. For centuries, humans have looked up and wondered. Ancient cultures spun myths around these lights. Norse legends saw them as the glow of Valkyries riding through the heavens, while the Inuit believed they were spirits dancing in the sky. Across civilizations, auroras inspired awe and reverence, early glimpses of the magnetic field's silent work before science could explain their origin. Even now, knowing the science does not diminish the magic. It deepens it, revealing that every spark and shimmer is a delicate response to forces born deep within the planet and carried from the sun. The aurora's dance is shaped by both rhythm and randomness. Some nights they ripple in slow, towering curtains, like waves frozen in mid-motion. Other nights, they flicker and pulse, arcs of light twisting across the darkness with sudden, graceful intensity. This motion reflects the magnetosphere's shifting currents, the ebb and flow of charged particles as they follow the invisible paths sculpted by Earth's molten core. It is a performance choreographed by physics, yet it appears as poetry to the human eye. The northern lights, or aurora borealis, shine in the Arctic, while the southern lights, aurora australis, illuminate Antarctica and the southern oceans. Both are part of the same cosmic system, linked by the Earth's magnetic field and energized by the sun's outpouring of particles. Their mirrored movements suggest balance, a symmetry between poles, and an invisible tether connecting the extremes of our spinning planet. Observing them is like listening to the subtle rhythm of a heartbeat, both planetary and cosmic, in perfect harmony. Though the auroras are fleeting, they reveal profound truths. The colors, the shapes, the gentle swirls. They are the visible edge of a magnetic shield that envelopes the Earth, protecting the atmosphere and life below. Every flicker is a silent conversation between the sun and Earth, a reminder that we exist within a living, responsive system, and that energy is constantly flowing, reshaping, and guiding the natural world. Even in the quiet of night, the planet communicates through these lights. Scientists today study auroras with satellites and instruments that measure the charged particles and magnetic field lines. They observe the ways the lights flare during solar storms, and how the magnetic field guides energy with precision. Yet, for all our technology, there is still mystery in their movements. No two auroras are alike, and even the most detailed maps cannot predict the next delicate curve or sudden flicker. They are a living painting, a constant reminder that the magnetic field is dynamic, alive, and quietly magnificent. As you visualize the lights, imagine the gentle hum of the magnetic field guiding every particle, every spark. Picture the vast space above, filled with invisible currents bending and twisting, unseen yet intimately tied to the shimmering lights. Feel the calm, the sense of wonder, as the auroras drift silently across the night sky, dancing to a rhythm billions of years in the making, and notice how the quiet beauty of this natural display mirrors the quiet wonder within your own mind. In this meditation, let the auroras carry you into stillness. They are proof of a force that is both protective and playful, invisible and yet profoundly present. Every shimmer is a whisper of the Earth's magnetic heartbeat, a signal that life is cradled, that motion is guided, that energy is balanced across the planet. The auroras are the sky's gentle conversation with us, a reminder of the unseen forces that sustain our world while painting it in quiet majesty. As your eyes grow heavy and your thoughts begin to soften, imagine these ribbons of light extending beyond the horizon, tracing the invisible magnetic lines that envelop the Earth. They are a lullaby in color and motion, a reminder that the planet is alive with currents, connections, and invisible guardians. Allow yourself to drift with them, carried in imagination by the magnetic field's gentle dance, floating toward rest and wonder as the sky itself whispers its quiet story. Long before satellites and modern maps, humans gazed at the world with curiosity and wonder, seeking guidance from forces they could not see. Among the most profound discoveries was a small, simple instrument, a compass, that harnessed the invisible pull of Earth's magnetic field. Tiny and unassuming, it pointed steadfastly north, yet it opened gateways to exploration, adventure, and the understanding that our planet itself has an unseen rhythm guiding life and motion. Imagine holding such a compass in your hand for the first time. The needle quivers lightly, aligns itself, and settles with quiet certainty, tracing the invisible lines emanating from deep within the Earth. To ancient sailors navigating endless seas, this small device was a miracle, a touchstone in vast uncertainty. It whispered directions when no stars shone above, and promised that even in darkness, there was guidance to follow. The history of navigation is intertwined with the magnetic field. Explorers relied upon compasses to traverse oceans, mapping continents and discovering distant lands. Chinese mariners perfected the lodestone compass centuries ago, using it to align their voyages with precision. In Europe, during the Age of Discovery, sailors crossed uncharted waters, trusting the quiet pull of metal as it aligned with the northern pole. Every journey was a meditation on the unseen, a subtle acknowledgement that the Earth itself offers guidance if we learn to listen. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the gentle rocking of a ship on a quiet ocean. Waves lap against the hull, a rhythm of motion matched only by the slow, steady alignment of the compass needle. Each degree of rotation, each course correction, is shaped by the magnetic field, a force invisible yet intimately connected to every journey. This silent influence has guided humans for centuries, quietly shaping the history of exploration while remaining largely unnoticed. Compasses also inspired wonder in those who sought to understand the natural world. Scientists and philosophers observed how a thin needle could respond to something beyond human touch, leading to investigations into the nature of magnetism itself. They discovered that the Earth acts like a giant magnet, its molten core generating currents that reach far into space. The compass became not just a navigational tool, but a bridge between curiosity, observation, and imagination, a means to sense a force that is otherwise invisible. Even inland, the compass shaped our perception of the world. Travelers, cartographers, and surveyors depended upon its quiet guidance, connecting distant towns, rivers, and mountains into coherent maps. It transformed human understanding of space, providing a framework to imagine distances, directions, and paths. And yet, for all its utility, it retained an element of wonder. A tiny piece of metal, spinning freely, aligning with a field generated by molten metal thousands of kilometers below our feet. The magnetic field behind the compass is not unchanging. Over time, the poles wander, and the needle adjusts accordingly. Ancient maps may differ from modern measurements, reflecting centuries of slow motion beneath the crust. But this movement does not diminish the compass's guidance. Instead, it adds layers of fascination, reminding us that the Earth is alive, dynamic, and constantly reshaping itself. In a sense, every journey is a conversation between human curiosity and planetary motion, guided by a force that is both intimate and vast. Even today, in an age of GPS and satellites, the compass remains a symbol of exploration and trust in invisible forces. Hikers, sailors, and adventurers still carry it, feeling the subtle pull and aligning themselves with the earth. It is a meditation in miniature, a device that encourages patience, attention, and awareness of the natural world. Holding a compass is an act of connection, an acknowledgement that unseen currents flow beneath us, shaping direction, movement, and life itself. The compass also reflects the elegance of the magnetic field. As the needle responds, it traces the invisible lines that stretch from pole to pole, lines that bend, curve, and dance with the rhythms of the core. Each alignment is a small glimpse of a planetary heartbeat, a reminder that we live within a web of forces far larger than ourselves, and yet intimately connected to our everyday experiences. Even the act of walking, sailing, or navigating becomes a participation in this quiet, ongoing symphony. So as you imagine holding a compass in your hand tonight, consider the centuries of human curiosity it represents. Picture explorers tracing courses across oceans, surveyors measuring distances with quiet precision, and every needle turning faithfully toward the magnetic north. Feel the gentle hum of the earth beneath your feet, its molten heart driving currents that align your path, both literally and metaphorically. The compass is more than a tool. It is a meditation on the unseen, a reminder that the world offers guidance for those willing to pause, observe, and trust in forces greater than themselves. In this reflection, allow yourself to drift, guided by the quiet pull of invisible lines, as if you too are part of the great journey across oceans, continents, and time. The magnetic field, steady and unseen, embraces every movement, every choice, every exploration. And as you rest in this thought, know that the world, from its molten core to the auroras above, is alive with subtle currents, quietly shaping paths, inspiring wonder, and guiding life in ways both practical and poetic. In some corners of the earth, the magnetic field behaves in ways that feel almost playful, as if the planet enjoys keeping a secret. These are regions of subtle irregularity, where the invisible lines that usually guide compasses bend, weaken, or flicker unpredictably. One such region, known as the South Atlantic Anomaly, stretches across part of the southern hemisphere, a patch where satellites experience unexpected disturbances, and the field dips more weakly than elsewhere. It is a quiet reminder that the magnetic field, while protective and steady, is not perfectly uniform. Imagine floating above this anomaly, observing the invisible currents twisting and looping in unusual patterns. The molten iron in the outer core continues its slow, deliberate dance, yet the ripples of its motion manifest unevenly at the surface. These cracks and flickers in the field are not threats. They are expressions of a dynamic system, the result of convection currents, rotations, and the natural complexity of the geodynamo. The Earth hums its secrets quietly, whispering hints of change over centuries and millennia, inviting curiosity rather than alarm. Throughout history, the field has undergone far more dramatic transformations. Magnetic reversals, when the poles swap places, leave their traces in ancient rocks, fossils, and sediments. Scientists studying these shifts see patterns of strength and weakness recorded over millions of years, each reversal a chapter in the Earth's deep story. Yet even during these flips, the field never vanishes entirely. It bends and falters, yes, but it remains a guardian, ensuring that life continues under its invisible protection. Visualize a compass needle trembling slightly, not due to human error, but because of these subtle variations in the magnetic field. In some regions, it may point a little off from true magnetic north, a delicate waver caused by the molten currents deep below. These minor irregularities are part of the field's natural rhythm, proof that the Earth is alive with motion, constantly adjusting, balancing, and reshaping the invisible lines that embrace the planet. Modern technology allows scientists to observe these patterns with extraordinary detail. Satellites drift silently above, measuring fluctuations in the magnetic field with precision. They detect the small undulations, the flickers, and the localized weaknesses, mapping a force that remains invisible to the human eye but essential to every life on Earth. Even as the field shifts and bends, it maintains its protective role, a silent guardian responding to changes from the core to the edge of space. These anomalies also reveal the magnetic field's elegance. While it may flicker in one region, it strengthens elsewhere, compensating in a balance that has persisted for billions of years. The field is dynamic, resilient, and adaptive, a testament to the continuous energy flowing from the molten heart of the planet. Every crack, every shift, is part of a grand design, unseen yet profoundly real, reminding us that nature's forces are far more complex and fascinating than they first appear. There is wonder in these patterns, too. The anomalies and reversals are not merely scientific curiosities. They are evidence that the planet is alive, constantly in motion, and always interacting with the cosmos. The magnetic field is not a static shield but a living system, responding to forces both within the Earth and from the Sun. Each flicker in the South Atlantic, each subtle shift in the poles, is a note in a quiet symphony of energy, flowing unseen yet shaping every life it protects. Even as the field fluctuates, life adapts. Birds navigating thousands of miles sense these invisible cues. Whales traverse oceans guided by currents they can detect, and humans continue to explore the planet, sometimes aided and sometimes challenged by the subtle motions of the magnetic lines. The interplay of consistency and change, strength and weakness, is a meditation in itself, a reminder that the world is both stable and dynamic, ordered yet mysterious. Consider the paradox of the magnetic field's strength and fragility. It bends and wavers in some regions, yet remains sufficient to shield our atmosphere from solar storms. It flickers in places, yet endures over eons. The Earth is a master of balance, quietly adjusting, compensating, and maintaining the conditions necessary for life. Observing these anomalies is an act of deep reflection. It connects us to the rhythms of the molten core, the passage of geological time, and the vast forces that shape the invisible environment surrounding our planet. As night falls and your thoughts begin to drift, imagine the subtle flickers of the field flowing around the Earth, like ripples across an endless pond. Each fluctuation is a story, a whisper from the planet's deep interior, revealing both the mystery and resilience of this invisible guardian. Even in its imperfections, it is beautiful, dynamic, protective, and quietly magnificent. The magnetic heartbeat of Earth continues, guiding life, shaping exploration, and inviting wonder, even in the places where it bends and shifts unexpectedly. Beyond the curve of our atmosphere, past the clouds and oceans, the solar system hums with invisible lines of force. Each planet, each celestial body, carries its own magnetic story, a subtle signature of molten cores, spinning iron, or charged plasma. Earth is not alone in this silent symphony. Our planet's magnetic heartbeat is part of a cosmic orchestra, playing in harmony with the rhythms of the Sun, Jupiter, Mars, and even the distant stars. Imagine drifting past Mars, a world of red dust and silent canyons. Its surface is scarred with ancient rivers, yet it carries only faint traces of a magnetic field. Unlike Earth, Mars lost the energetic currents in its core that once protected its atmosphere, and with their disappearance, the planet became exposed to the unfiltered solar wind. It is a quiet reminder of how fragile planetary protection can be, and how precious our magnetic field is, holding the breath of life in invisible hands. Then glide closer to Jupiter, the gas giant whose storms rage like eternal hurricanes. Beneath its swirling clouds lies a metallic hydrogen core, generating a magnetic field so vast that it stretches millions of kilometers into space. This colossal magnetosphere dwarfs our own, shaping auroras on a scale unimaginable, guiding particles in loops and spirals that illuminate the planet's polar regions. Here, magnetism is not only protective. It is a spectacle, a force both beautiful and immense, showing the sheer variety of ways celestial bodies carry invisible energy. Even the Sun, our glowing star, hums with magnetic complexity. Its surface bristles with activity. Sunspots, flares, and coronal loops, all tracing lines of magnetic energy that stretch far into the solar system. Solar magnetism drives the solar wind, sending rivers of charged particles outward, sometimes toward Earth, interacting with our field to create auroras and shifting currents. In this sense, Earth's magnetic field is a partner, a responder, and a guardian, quietly negotiating the energy of the cosmos to preserve the world we call home. Consider Mercury, small and dense, with a surprisingly strong magnetic field despite its size. Its existence puzzles scientists, a hint that even the tiniest planets can hum with invisible currents. And Venus, shrouded in thick clouds and silence, shows little magnetic protection at all, its atmosphere vulnerable to solar influence. The diversity is breathtaking. Some worlds shielded, some exposed, each a variation on the theme of magnetism, each teaching us something about the delicate balance required for habitability. As you drift among these planets in your imagination, notice the contrast with Earth. Here, our magnetic field is both gentle and powerful, steady yet dynamic. It bends in response to the sun, stretches across the poles, and ripples with the currents of molten iron deep below. Its invisible lines guide life, deflect solar particles, and cradle the atmosphere, a combination of forces that is rare and remarkable in the cosmos. Compared to the other planets, Earth hums in harmony, a delicate note in a vast, energetic symphony. Even moons carry magnetic whispers. Ganymede, Jupiter's largest moon, has its own magnetic field, a miniature reflection of planetary dynamics. Its presence reminds us that magnetism is not unique to planets. It is a property of motion, rotation, and molten or conductive material. Across the solar system, invisible lines of force extend and twist, creating shields, patterns, and auroras that dance unseen to human eyes. The cosmos itself is a network of magnetism, energy flowing quietly, subtly, and endlessly. In contemplating these celestial fields, a sense of wonder emerges. Earth is a rare jewel, cradled by a magnetic embrace that enables life and protects the fragile atmosphere from the sun's energy. Yet it is part of a larger story, a network of forces, a cosmic conversation that stretches from the smallest moon to the largest star. Every flicker of aurora, every compass needle pointing north, every satellite measuring the field, connects to this grander system, reminding us that our planet is both unique and intertwined with the cosmos. Imagine now floating above the solar system, seeing Earth among its neighbors. Its magnetic field is a halo, unseen yet powerful, glowing softly in metaphorical light, guiding life, shaping motion, and whispering across the void. Jupiter storms beside it, Mars drifts quietly, the sun sends energy outward, and every body carries its own invisible signature. Yet Earth is distinct, perfectly balanced, dynamic, protective, alive with currents, and resonating with a quiet hum that allows life to flourish in ways no other known planet does. As your thoughts soften and your mind drifts, consider this. Our planet's magnetic field is not an isolated wonder. It is a participant in a cosmic web, a melody in a universal symphony of energy. Its heartbeat is felt in auroras, compass needles, and in the very protection of the atmosphere. From molten iron at the core to charged particles in space, Earth resonates with the magnetic dance of the cosmos, reminding us that even invisible forces can create stability, guidance, and wonder on a planetary and universal scale. Beneath the invisible embrace of the magnetic field, life unfolds in quiet, ordinary miracles. Every breath you take, every heartbeat, exists under the subtle protection of currents that flow far below and stretch far above the planet's surface. The Earth's magnetism is not just a scientific phenomenon. It is a guardian, wrapping the atmosphere in an unseen shield, diverting solar storms, and quietly preserving the conditions that allow life to grow, move, and thrive. Imagine standing in a dense forest at dawn. The air is calm, the leaves barely moving. Birds awaken and take flight, whales glide through distant oceans, and humans go about their daily paths. All of this occurs beneath a magnetic canopy that guides and protects, unseen but indispensable. The same field that bends compass needles, dances with auroras, and shifts over centuries, also cradles the atmosphere, keeping it intact against the constant bombardment of solar and cosmic radiation. Without it, the delicate balance of oxygen, nitrogen, and water vapor would falter, and life as we know it could not exist. Even creatures that do not carry instruments have learned to sense this invisible guide. Migratory birds follow magnetic lines across continents, tracing pathways with astonishing precision. Sea turtles hatch on warm beaches and navigate thousands of miles across oceans, guided by the planet's subtle cues. Whales sense the field as they traverse vast underwater highways. In these journeys, magnetism is both compass and guardian, an ever-present partner in survival and exploration. Life has, in a sense, evolved in harmony with this silent force, attuned to currents invisible to human eyes. Consider the intricate connection between protection and direction. The magnetic field diverts charged particles from the sun, preventing them from stripping away the atmosphere. In doing so, it allows oceans to remain liquid, climates to stabilize, and ecosystems to flourish. Yet it simultaneously provides a framework for movement. Compasses rely on it, animals navigate by it, and the rhythms of life subtly align with its presence. Every moment of growth, migration, and exploration takes place under a shield that is invisible yet profoundly felt. The interplay between the magnetic field and life is not dramatic or loud. It does not roar across the forests or oceans. Instead, it hums quietly, a gentle vibration that touches everything. A tree grows toward the sun, yet beneath the soil, roots align with subtle shifts in minerals and currents, shaped by forces both seen and unseen. Animals migrate, humans explore, and the atmosphere remains intact, all thanks to a dynamic, protective system that stretches from molten metal at the core to the outer edges of the magnetosphere. Even in moments of solar storms, when particles rush toward Earth with tremendous energy, the shield responds with elegance. It diverts, bends, and channels these particles along lines of force, creating auroras at the poles, but sparing the surface from devastation. Life continues undisturbed, unaware of the cosmic dance playing above. This invisible protection has persisted for billions of years, allowing evolution, adaptation, and survival to unfold in calm continuity. Imagine the subtle conversations between life and magnetism. Birds adjusting flight paths, turtles gliding across oceans, whales diving into deep waters, all guided by an invisible compass. Humans, too, have sensed and relied upon these forces, from early explorers using lodestones to modern scientists measuring shifts in satellites above. Every living being exists in a delicate equilibrium, a balance maintained by currents in molten metal and lines stretching far into space, all orchestrating the conditions necessary for life. There is a poetic rhythm to this protection. The field ebbs and flows with the energy of the sun, strengthens and weakens over centuries, and yet always maintains a sufficient embrace. It is not rigid or predictable. It is alive, responsive, and dynamic. Life, in turn, is resilient, adaptive, and attuned, responding to these gentle rhythms in ways both visible and hidden. The Earth becomes a sanctuary woven from invisible threads of magnetism that shield, guide, and inspire wonder. As you lie still, imagine the field stretching above you like a soft, protective veil. Every movement of air, every ripple of water, every step you take occurs under this quiet guardianship. The planet hums a steady lullaby, currents flowing unseen beneath the crust, deflecting cosmic energy, and guiding life with gentle precision. You are part of this dance, drifting under the shield, connected to a force that has enabled life for eons, and continues to guide every breath, every motion, every journey. In this meditation, allow yourself to feel the calm security of the magnetic embrace. It is more than science. It is a quiet wonder, a living guardian, and a subtle connection to all life on Earth. Under this invisible canopy, life moves and grows, exploring, migrating, and dreaming, all guided by currents too subtle to see, yet too essential to ignore. The shield surrounds you, protects you, and reminds you that the Earth itself is alive, pulsing with energy, and humming softly beneath your feet. Above the clouds, above the winds, And even beyond the reach of auroras, machines drift silently in space, listening to the subtle murmurs of our planet. Satellites, equipped with delicate magnetometers, trace the invisible lines that stretch from pole to pole, recording the gentle pulses, the bends, the twists, and the occasional flickers of the magnetic field. These instruments are our ears in the cosmos, attuned to rhythms too subtle for human perception, capturing the quiet heartbeat of the Earth. Imagine a satellite gliding above the South Atlantic anomaly, sensing the slight weakening of the field below. It hums along its orbit, measuring changes in strength, direction, and flow, translating invisible forces into data that tells the story of a living, dynamic planet. These machines drift without hurry, drifting patiently, as if honoring the slow, deliberate currents in the molten core beneath, each orbit a meditation on the planet's subtle energy. On the ground, magnetometers track smaller variations, sensing anomalies, reversals, and shifts. These instruments, often tucked quietly in remote observatories, record the whispers of the field with precision and care. Every slight deflection, every undulation of the lines, becomes part of a larger narrative. A story of currents moving deep below, of iron and nickel in molten motion, of energy flowing unseen, yet shaping every moment on the surface. Think of the scientists who interpret these signals. They are listeners as much as observers, reading subtle patterns, understanding fluctuations, and translating them into knowledge about Earth's inner workings. Their work is not hurried or frantic. It is patient, reflective, and deeply attuned to rhythms that span centuries. By decoding these whispers, humans gain a sense of connection to forces that are immense, ancient, and invisible, a quiet understanding of the planet's heartbeat. Even in space, arrays of satellites measure the interactions between the solar wind and the magnetosphere. They trace the paths of charged particles, following their spirals along field lines, watching auroras ignite in the upper atmosphere, and recording the field's responses to solar storms. Each observation is a meditation, revealing the invisible currents that cradle life below, turning raw energy into protective guidance. The Earth's magnetic field becomes a story told in numbers, graphs, and visualizations, yet the poetry of the planet's motion remains. Consider the data collected over decades. The slow wandering of the poles, the subtle weakening in some regions, the flickers of anomalies, the traces of ancient reversals captured in rock. Every measurement is a note in a symphony billions of years in the making. Humans, by observing, are participants in this rhythm, listening to a song that is both ancient and ongoing, and finding awe in patterns that connect molten cores, cosmic winds, and the tiniest motions of living creatures. Even as technology advances, the essential experience remains poetic. A scientist observing the drift of the North Magnetic Pole, or a satellite tracing a loop of field lines, is witnessing forces that cannot be touched, seen, or held, but can be felt through understanding and imagination. The planet communicates through currents, through lines of force, and through subtle shifts, and those who listen attentively are rewarded with a sense of connection to something far larger than themselves. The beauty of this process lies in its patience. The Earth does not announce its changes with urgency. It hums, it drifts, it flickers gently. Satellites orbit, instruments record, and humans interpret, all moving in quiet harmony with the rhythms of the planet. There is a meditation in this work, a reminder that knowledge and wonder often grow slowly, that attention and reflection reveal truths hidden in subtlety, and that listening carefully can illuminate forces that shape every breath, movement, and thought. As you imagine the Earth from above, see the satellites drifting silently, tracing the invisible lines of magnetism, and consider the orchestration beneath them. Molten currents churn deep in the core, field lines bend and loop, auroras flare, and life moves below, all interconnected in a dance of energy and protection. The planet is alive, and through these instruments, we can hear the faint whispers of its heart, a quiet song of guidance, balance, and continuity. In this meditation, allow yourself to feel part of the listening. You are not merely observing from afar. You are attuned to the hum of the planet, sensing its currents, feeling its protection, and marveling at its invisible elegance. The Earth communicates in subtle ways, through energy, motion, and protection, and by listening, even in imagination, we become part of its story. A story that has unfolded for billions of years and will continue long after we drift into sleep. Even as we study, measure, and observe, the magnetic field of Earth retains its secrets. It flows invisibly beneath our feet, stretches silently into space, and bends in response to forces both familiar and unknowable. There is a quiet mystery in this invisible guardian, a rhythm that cannot be touched but can be felt in the hum of life, the alignment of compasses, and the dance of auroras across distant skies. The Earth carries on, patient and enduring, revealing only what it chooses in flickers, pulses, and gentle whispers. Imagine standing alone beneath a vast night sky. The stars are scattered like diamonds, yet your attention is drawn to the unseen shield cradling the planet, bending solar wind, guiding particles, and shaping auroras. This shield is ancient, billions of years in the making, yet it is dynamic, alive with currents and flows that respond to changes in the sun, in the core, and in the wider cosmos. Even with all our instruments and satellites, much of its behavior remains a mystery, a subtle reminder of the depth and complexity of the world beneath and around us. The field has changed over time, its strength rising and falling, its poles wandering and even reversing in the distant past. Rocks remember these flips, carrying magnetic imprints that tell stories of deep time. Scientists piece together these clues patiently, tracing the evolution of Earth's invisible heart. Yet even with centuries of observation, the inner workings remain elusive. Each discovery opens new questions. How precisely does the core generate this field? What triggers fluctuations? When might the next reversal occur? The answers are slow to arrive, as if the Earth itself guards its secrets in silent patience. There is wonder in uncertainty. The fact that we do not fully know, that the planet maintains patterns beyond our comprehension, invites a meditative curiosity. We marvel at the stability that allows life to flourish, the compass that points steadily north, the auroras that shimmer unpredictably. We appreciate the subtle anomalies, the flickers in the South Atlantic, and the shifts that satellites measure from above. All of this reminds us that mystery is not something to fear. It is an invitation to observe, imagine, and marvel at the rhythms of the planet. Think of the magnetic field as a vast river, its source deep in molten iron and nickel, flowing in invisible spirals, twisting and turning in response to forces unseen. Its currents are strong enough to protect the atmosphere, gentle enough to allow life to move freely, and complex enough to baffle the most sophisticated instruments. Even the strongest solar storms, striking with immense energy, are diverted, guided, and softened, leaving the world below largely untouched. In this quiet resilience, there is both science and poetry, a harmony between protection and mystery. The Earth's heartbeat, if we could hear it, would be measured in fluctuations, reversals, and the slow wandering of the poles. It hums beneath the crust, flows outward to the magnetosphere, and dances with charged particles from the sun. Life has evolved within this rhythm, relying on its consistency, yet adapting to its changes. Every organism, every river, every gust of wind, exists under this quiet governance, unaware yet dependent, moving in harmony with a force that is invisible, patient, and profound. Even the human desire to measure, chart, and predict becomes a meditation. Satellites drift above, instruments trace field lines, scientists interpret data with care, and yet the deeper patterns of the geodynamo remain elusive. The mystery itself is part of the beauty, a reminder that the world is far more intricate and alive than our senses can perceive. To sit quietly, to reflect on the hidden currents shaping every moment, is to participate in the same patient observation that life itself performs daily. As you allow your mind to wander, imagine the Earth floating in space, a small blue orb wrapped in a magnetic embrace, spinning silently beneath the sun and stars. The field bends gracefully, auroras ripple, particles are guided, and life continues undisturbed. This is the quiet mystery, the knowledge that the planet works tirelessly, invisibly, shaping its environment, protecting life, and sustaining balance in ways both comprehensible and unknowable. It is a gentle reminder that we are part of something vast, delicate, and wondrous. And so, as you drift closer to sleep, let the magnetic field's invisible dance carry you. Picture the molten currents far below, the field lines stretching into the sky, the auroras glowing softly at the poles, and life moving quietly beneath this shield. The earth hums in a rhythm older than humanity, a song of protection, motion, and subtle wonder. Though we do not understand all its notes, we can feel its harmony, a lullaby in invisible currents, guiding the planet and you through the night. In this reflection, there is calm, there is awe, and there is a profound connection. We know enough to marvel, yet the heart of the planet keeps its deepest secrets, allowing life to flourish under quiet guardianship. The magnetic field is a reminder that mystery is not empty. It is filled with purpose, protection, and beauty. As the world turns, spinning in its orbit, the invisible lines of energy embrace the planet, carrying life safely, serenely, and endlessly forward. As your eyes grow heavy and your thoughts begin to soften, imagine the earth beneath you, spinning silently in the vastness of space. Beneath its crust, molten currents move with patient rhythm, generating a magnetic heartbeat that hums quietly, guiding life and shaping the invisible environment around us. Above, the magnetosphere stretches like a protective veil, bending solar wind and cosmic rays, safeguarding oceans, air, and every living being. Tonight, the planet is alive in ways we cannot see, yet we feel its presence in every breath, every heartbeat, and every quiet thought. The auroras whisper across the poles, shimmering ribbons of green, violet, and pink, a gentle reminder that energy flows and that life is cradled under this invisible shield. Compasses still point north, birds follow currents they cannot name, and the planet continues its silent dance, centuries in the making, a story older than human history. Even in places where the field bends, flickers, or wanes, it performs its quiet duty, balancing forces with patience, grace, and endless care. Take a moment now to imagine yourself beneath this magnetic embrace. Feel the calm it offers, the security it grants, and the wonder it inspires. You are connected to the planet, not as a passive observer, but as part of its rhythm. Every life on Earth moves under the same currents, every moment guided by forces too subtle to see but essential to existence. Let this thought carry you into rest, a meditation on the unseen guardianship that surrounds and protects us all. If you enjoyed this journey through the invisible forces that shape our world, subscribe to The Thoughtful Night, and leave a comment telling us where in the world you're watching from tonight. Your curiosity, your attention, and your imagination join us in exploring the quiet mysteries of the Earth, and in celebrating the beauty of life beneath its magnetic shield. And now, as your breathing slows and your mind drifts, allow the Earth's subtle hum to lull you further. Picture the field lines stretching above, auroras dancing in the far distance, and life moving gently below, all in harmony with the invisible energy that surrounds the planet. Feel the calm, the wonder, and the serenity of knowing that the world continues its quiet, protective rhythm while you rest. Good night, Earth. Good night, mind and heart. May your dreams be guided by quiet forces, your imagination wander among auroras, and your curiosity rest in gentle wonder. Drift slowly into sleep, cradled by the invisible currents of our living, breathing planet, and awaken renewed with awe for the hidden symphony that hums beneath your feet.